Well, in the Senate, this is easy. The Constitution states that regardless of population, each state will be represented by 2 senators. It doesn't matter if the whole state's population is 2 people and a squirrel, it still gets 2 senators. The registered voters of each state vote for their senators.
School party doesn't have a chance this year. Nuts!
The House, on the other hand, is a different ballgame. That's because the House of Representatives is made up of various amounts of members from each state. So not every state has the same number of members. Why? Because not every state has the same amount of residents. And House representation is based on state population.
During the Constitutional Convention, the Great Compromise stated that each state, no matter what size, would have the same amount of representatives in the Senate, which made the small states happy. But then, in the House of Representatives, representation would be determined by population. This made the big states happy, but it also made things a lot more complicated.
In order to understand this representation stuff better, we need to look at 2 concepts: apportionment and redistricting.
Apportionment is the determination and assignment of representation in a legislature based on population. In other words, apportionment means that the total number of representatives of each state is based on the total population of the state. So basically that means that the larger a state's population, then the more congressmen that state has representing it.
But it isn't that simple. You see, the whole population is divided up based on geographic boundaries called districts. Each district contains approximately the same number of people and gets 1 representative. The more districts a state has, the more representatives it has. But here's the thing. Populations aren't static. People move. People are born, people die, and some people just drift. Since the populations don't remain the same, then neither will their representation in the House. Redistricting occurs after every 10-year census. That's when the government counts all the people in the United States. Our second complex term, redistricting, is when congressional districts are geographically redrawn in order to reflect a change in population. This occurs to ensure that each House member represents approximately the same number of residents.
Apportionment is no walk in the park, but once all is said and done and the legislative members are all picked and they've all got their offices and their interns and their coffee, then what happens? Well, let's have a look.